enregistré pour voter. Sou pot ko fè sa, chache konen nan ville kote wap vive nan, ki bo ki gen accès, an pile moun yo te deja recevoir carte yo nan mail, ou te dwe recevoir par lan deja. Sou pou ko recevoir ou bien sou pa fin sur ki jan pou fè ça, chache konen sou kapabal jwen your town hall ou nan ville kote wap habite an, pou kapab assurer que ou fè ça.
C'est pas ça seulement. M'ta encouragé tout le monde faire recherche sur juge yo.
Oui.
Parce que tout le monde qui sous ballot là, yo listé, yo gen tout background, yo tout bagay yo disponible en ligne. Donc faites si recherche, apprendre connaître qui est-ce qui là qui pral juge pour.
Et non seulement chercher, parce que c'est important pour nous chercher qui moun kap juge nous, mais c'est important pour chercher qui est-ce kap rentrer dans candidat pour for the congressional race. Qui est-ce qui veut représenter État? Qui est-ce qui veut rentrer dans Sénat? Donc, nous voulons assurer nous que nous cherchons tout détail ça yo, parce que c'est nécessaire. Donc, nous pourrons recommencer encore. Nous croyons que nous gagnons un juge Ruiz ensemble avec nous. Nous pourrons réintroduire encore davantage. Judge Ruiz, are you able to hear us?
I can't hear you, but are you asking me to go ahead and speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please
Okay.
introduce yourself.
All right. Perfect. So I am Judge Mabel Ruiz. I've been a judge for almost 12 years. And I was asked what made me want to become a judge. And I think that I, as a Cuban immigrant, have a lot in common with the Haitian people coming to Miami also as immigrants. There was a lot of political turmoil in Cuba when I emigrated in 1966, and I came just as the Haitian people come to Miami with nothing and with a lot of hard work and education and opportunity. I became a lawyer. What motivated me was a human rights book that I read when I was about 22, 23 years old, written by a political prisoner. And that motivated me to want to help him and the Cuban cause, which unfortunately our islands in the Caribbean have a lot of political turmoil on a regular basis. But it doesn't speak to how much the Cuban people, the Haitian people, the Dominican people, the Puerto Rican people want to progress, want education, want opportunities, want freedom, want to move forward in life. We absolutely have that in common. So when I read that book, it made me want to become an attorney so that I could help the political prisoners in Cuba. And that led me back to Miami, which is where I grew up. And it led me to the public defender's office, where I did represent people that were accused of committing crimes. Political prisoners are different. When I couldn't represent them, but I could represent people here in my community that were accused of committing crimes. And that's what I did. And my entire career, my full 30 years has been devoted to representing people with very low opportunities and means. And so public service has been something that I've done my entire career. And for the last 12 years, I've been a judge. And it has helped me to be an assistant public defender, to be in court every day, representing people and working with prosecutors. It has helped me be a fair judge. And by the way, the League of Prosecutors, the people that were my opponents for almost 20 years, endorsed me. So did the Miami Herald. And I'm very honored by those endorsements because they're not political endorsements. The League of Prosecutors are hardcore attorneys that work very, very hard. They stand up for their position. They stand up to judges. They stand up to defense attorneys. So for them to endorse me is an honor of a lifetime. It means that they say that that I am ethical, that I don't misrepresent anything to them, that I am fair. So I worked in criminal court as a judge for 3 years. So for them to endorse me, I'm very, very proud of that. And so I am asked my daughter, by the way, after being a defense attorney my entire career, my daughter grew up to become of course, a prosecutor. So she works for the office of Kathy Fernandez Rundle, and I am a judge in civil court. So I don't do anything like immigration or those types of things. I do disputes between businesses and people. Um, and every decision that I make is one that is based on the law and on the facts of each case. So I thank you very, very much for listening to me. I appreciate it. Mabel Ruiz, number 126. 126. How do you say 126? Un, two. Okay.
Excellent. Judge Mavel Ruiz, wow, thank you so much for sharing that. We did truly get the chance to really see the essence of who it is that you are, what you represent, where you come from, because that representation definitely matters. I'm going to turn over to my co-moderator, Candace.
Yes. So I'm so happy that you talked about your history in the courts and everything that it is that you're doing. One of the questions that we were talking about is our judicial system serves everyone, from every socioeconomic background. What specific practices and leadership principles would you implement to ensure every litigant's experience has equal access to justice and procedural fairness and confidence and integrity of the court?
I don't think she can hear you.
Oh no, I think we might have lost her.
It's okay.
So I respectfully ask two things. I ask that you pray for me, that you keep me in your prayers, and I ask for your vote, number 126. I understand our community. I understand the people in Miami-Dade County, having grown up here since I was 5 years old. I don't want to tell you how old I am right now, but you can imagine. But I understand the struggles, I understand the history, and I understand what we want in the future for our families. And we want justice. We want courts that are fair to us, that do not look to someone's power or how much money they have. We want judges that treat us fairly based on the law and what the facts are before us. And that's what I've done the years I've been on the bench. And so I ask for your prayers and your support. Judge Mabel Ruiz, number 126, because I'm number one in 2026. God bless you and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Judge. Okay, we're going to take a little commercial break. And when we come back, we will see a couple of other judges. Jeria?
Yon nan nou kapri Tomaso, même pli maya ke nou. Ou di Moïse, se yon leader civique sans pareil. Rivel nan Grand Kay, atterri Washington. Problème immigration yo se yon nan priorité. Donc là, c'est yon père de famille responsable. Yon médecin expérimenté qui diplômé dans business administration. Yon avocat colonel dans Air Force Reserve. Puis faut activité clinique ou di Moïse, c'est dans quelle communauté alliée, oui, cap servi nous depuis plus passé 40 récolte café. Dernière fois pour nous dégager chaîne ça, chaudière division te bouillie dans mi-temps nous. Fois ça, communauté a dit ça t'est passé dans veille là, comme passé dans l'enterrement. Jodi a, c'est nous tous pour yon, numéro 34, pour nous connaître docteur Moïse qui sont dans les entrailles nous. Et puis peut-être dit au niveau des autres, yo ta oui nous.
And welcome back. So, this next segment, we're going to talk to some of the state reps. The first person that we have that we're going to be talking to is going to be Peter Walsh, Esquire. He is a Miami Shores trial attorney, the son of a Boston public school custodian, and he has spent 2 decades coaching youth in Miami Shore and running for his seat for a second time. Mr. Walsh?
Hear me, okay?
Hi, Mr. Walsh. How are you?
Hi, it's great. It's great to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for joining us. So before we get into a lot of the big questions, we want to know a little bit about who you are. Who is Peter Walsh outside of this campaign?
Yeah, thank you for that. And you posed that question well in your question. You said, tell us about your journey. Let me tell you just quickly about the journey that's brought me here. I'm the only a third generation American. That is to say, my grandmother emigrated from Ireland to Boston and had 9 sons. And my dad was one of those sons. And my dad had 7 kids, and I'm the oldest of those 7. We grew up very much a working class, even some would say working poor family. I grew up in a housing project in Boston. By the way, before you feel bad for us kids in a housing project, You can't imagine. We thought we were the richest kids in the world because we had millions of children all over the place to play
Gratitude
with.
will take you far.
That's absolutely right. But growing up, and by the way, my dad was a public school janitor, a public school custodian. People somehow think, well, janitor, wow, that's kind of, they sort of look down at that. Well, in Boston, if you're a public school janitor or custodian, as they're officially known, you're in the union. And so I learned early on what a union can do. Our family, my parents were able to raise 7 kids living in a housing project based on the salary of a janitor, of a custodian, because of the unions. I was the first kid in the Walsh family of all our immigrants to attend college. I went to college, Providence College, graduated from Providence College, went to law school at George Washington University Law School, got a master's degree from Carleton University in international relations, and got a second law degree from Tulane University. And I've been a trial lawyer here in Miami for 30 years. Janet Reno was my mentor. Ms. Reno, excuse me, hired me out of George Washington Law School 30 years ago. And I rose through the ranks as a prosecutor until I was handpicked to serve in the career criminal unit, where I established a reputation as a top-notch trial lawyer. After that, I have made my living representing what I call it the little guy, representing people and working families in struggles and disputes with corporations and insurance companies. People say, oh yeah, well, tell us a little bit about your big cases. Well, I mean, when Rick Scott, I remember when Rick Scott became senator in Florida, first elected, he came out with this big drug testing thing where he was going to teach the unions who's boss, and he was going to do urine testing on all of the state workers, not just people in safety sensitive positions, but everybody. Bio clerks, secretaries, and the like. Well, the unions wanted to hire a lawyer to represent them to challenge this. Well, who did they go to? They came to me. I wrote that lawsuit, and we defeated that unconstitutional executive order from Rick Scott way back when he started. We gave him his first defeat. Another case I handled not recently, but another large case, I represented a fellow who claimed he was wrongly accused of murder.
Well, before
yeah.
we get a little bit, before we get too deep into that,
Sorry.
I'm glad that you've had, no, I love it. I love it
Yeah.
because that's one of the things that we want to talk to you about is about the
Yeah.
experience that you've had and what it is that you're going to be able to do. So South Florida continues to face significant economic pressures, including rising housing costs, insurance premium, inflations, barriers to home ownership. Within the authority of Florida legislator, what specific legislative action would you pursue to improve economic mobility for working families? And how would you measure whether those actions are producing meaningful results?
Great question. This is the crux of the matter. The wealth gap in our nation exists here in District 108 just as it does everywhere else. And it's wrong, it's un-American, and it's the biggest threat we have to democracy today. The first thing I'd tackle is the issue of workers' compensation insurance. When a Floridian loses a job or gets hurt on one, the system should provide a safety net, right? That's what it's supposed to do, to catch that worker. But guess what? Our maximum unemployment benefit is just $275 a week. Try paying Miami-Dade rent on that. And the benefit hasn't meaningfully changed in decades. Eligibility was, in fact, deliberately cut by the Republicans in 2011, and the online system collapsed in 2020 when people needed it most. Unemployment compensation is insurance that workers already paid for. I'll fight to raise that benefit and index it to the cost of living and open the system to the part-time and gig workers that it shuts out. Same with workers' compensation. I recently won a $1 million case for a critically injured truck driver by piercing workers' compensation, something that my colleagues, fellow lawyers said was impossible. And that's what I'd like to do first, tackle unemployment and workers' compensation issues. Those are easy fixes. that I think I can persuade my Republican brothers and sisters to consider. Second, public schools. My father was a Boston public school custodian for 40 years. My life's trajectory was changed when I passed the entrance exam into one of the oldest public schools in the nation, the Boston Latin School, where I grew up. But here in Florida, we now divert nearly $4 million a year to voucher schools that aren't even obliged to take every child. Public
So
schools take
I'm
everyone.
glad that you brought up the public schools, because that's one of the next questions that I have. What responsibility should state government assume in addressing these interconnected issues? And how would you ensure that schools are supported without expecting educators to solve every social challenge alone?
Yeah, well, look, we're the richest country on the planet, and we're one of the richest cities in the richest country on the planet. There's nothing we can't do. And I don't mean that we just have to throw money at things, but look at what we do to the public school system. We have this voucher program where we take public tax dollars and we give it to richer schools. Down the street here in Miami Shores is Miami Country Day School. Well, guess what? The rich kids at Miami Country Day School have their tuition subsidized by us, by you and me, by taxpayers in Florida. We've got to eliminate the voucher program or pare it back significantly so that we can then divert that money into paying teachers more and paying custodians more, paying other folks that work in the schools more, having better food services for the kids in our schools. Let me tell you something. I've been to Dade County Jail representing defendants there. The bathrooms down the street at Miami Shores Elementary School look worse than the bathrooms for the public at the waiting room at Dade County Jail. That's wrong. It's backwards. Our schools are sort of the basis of the American dream. Without an equal education, kids are being deprived of a fair playing field. Look, that's sort of a long question to a quick, a long answer to a quick question. But really,
But that's okay. It was a good answer. I will give you that. Thank you so much. So I know that you have a whole lot to share, and we probably could be here all night. But I'm going to welcome you to give your 2-minute closing.
yeah. In closing, I want to say thank you to the folks I've met. And tip my hat to my opponents in my race, Dinah and Daphne, and Juancito, who's also one. It's hard to run. But I'll tell you, as I knock on the doors among Haitian-American families in North Miami, I've been greeted with open arms. And for that, I wanted to just say merci, thank you, and map toujours là pour nous. I'm learning Creole, by the way, and that's something I always tell the folks as I walk away. Map toujours là pour nous.
That was excellent. Thank you so much. Peter Walsh, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to give us your voting number.
Yeah, it's 104.
Okay.
I think that
Good.
is Sulcat, right?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Walsh. Jeriel?
Thank you so much, Candace. That was an excellent intervention. And now we're going to introduce our next candidate. We have with us Juancito Francius. This candidate was born in Port-au-Prince and a longtime North Miami resident. He is the general manager of a local small business and is championing a proposed state autism support funding bill named for a family member. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please help us welcome Juancito Francius. Juancito Francius, welcome.
Thank you, Miss
Dr. Jeriel.
Dr. Cheriot. I'm sorry. My name is Juancito Francius, like you just mentioned. Juancito Francius is migrated to United States in 2005. From 2005, I went straight to Chef Creole to work as a dishwasher. From the dishwasher, I moved to a Lindsay Technical Hub School, Hopkins, a professional school, to learn English. Then moved to Miami-Dade College. From Miami-Dade College, I earned my AA in criminal justice, minor in sociology, then moved in 2012 to 2015 to Florida International University, where I earned my BA in criminal justice, minor in sociology. But back home, I was graduated as a sociologist from State University of Haiti. I came to United States and I love policy. That's why I become a criminal justice major. When I migrate in politics in North Miami, realize that there's a lot need to be done and they need to be done properly. And I start doing my homework and I find out that there is $60,000 that misuse in the city of North Miami that I had to fight to bring it back to the city. I did fought it and I bring the result, bring the city $60,000 misused by politicians. In the same year, 2017 to 2018, there was a Chinatown proposal to the community. I fought it until the project died. In 2022, there was a bad bill that I considered, everybody considered as a bad bill at the time, which is HB 403, proposed in Tallahassee by a Republican and co-sponsored by a Democrat. And I fought that bill until I called the Democrat, because at that time I was a Democrat, to withdraw his vote and the bill died. This is what I've done in my community. Now I decided to run for District 108 because I have a clear vision for my community. One of them is the bill that you just mentioned in my introduction, which is Nathan French's Good Autism Act. It's a bill that I propose with a minor. I didn't hear you. I see you speaking, but I didn't hear you.
You can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Let's go. Okay. So, Mr. Flessius, it is clear that you are no stranger to this legal game and to this battle. So, Dr. Jeriel has a couple of questions for you. We asked our last candidates, and we're going to go ahead and ask you some of those as well. Dr. Jeriel.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for sharing your background, especially how it is that you began. You opened up by telling us that the first place that you started working was Chef Creole, and many of us can relate to that. And so that leads perfectly into our first question for this evening, which highlights how many Floridian families find themselves in economic instability. They're feeling that it is becoming increasingly difficult for them to be able to achieve what they would like to on their regular salary. And so South Florida continues to face significant economic pressures, including rising housing costs, insurance premiums, inflations, and barriers to home ownership. Within the authority of the Florida legislature, what specific legislative actions would you pursue to improve economic mobility for working families? And how would you measure whether those actions are producing meaningful results?
It's clear. I already have my agenda. Two bills already prepared to propose in the House. One, I already proposed it. It is not passed yet. I will re-enter that in the House, which is that I just mentioned earlier, Nathan Emmanuel French's Autism Support and Resources Act. The first day I get elected in January, that's the first thing that I'm going to propose. This bill requires some resources from the government to help at least 40% families in Miami-Dade County, especially, and the entire state of Florida who suffer that disease they call autism. I will stand by those single mothers to help them out in the capacity the government should be. The second bill that I will propose is for our senior. I will propose to freeze the property tax for senior citizens who has retired and continue to pay a mortgage on their primary residence. Remember, they are living on fixed income. Another way to solve that problem, I will freeze the property tax for them until they die. It's a proposition. Remember, I have the majority. I will make sure that I granted Florida that gift they deserve.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, Brother
Well, Brother
Francito
Francisco
Franciers,
Francis,
we
we
understand that you are
understand that
very passionate about it, ensuring that certain levels of funding are provided for those that you've stated that you want to be able to implement. And so we'd like to ask you if you would please fully define what it means by fully funding these entities. What does that mean in practice?
Uh, could you repeat your question to be clear?
Sure,
Sure,
sure.
sure.
So we
So
understand
we
that you said
understand
that you're providing certain funding for your elders, and we understand even in your campaign that you said that you're looking to do certain fundings for public schools, for students, etc. So if you could give us an idea in practice, when you get the seat, how would you do so?
will lower the overall cost of living by eliminating and reduce unnecessary government spending, eliminate waste in government. Make sure I propose a bill to control, not control, to regulate local government and spending because sometimes they spend more money instead of invest or give back to the community. That's the proper way to do it legally.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And in that note, if you would please provide for us your closing statements.
My closing statement would be I consider myself a son of District 108. Came from Haiti, 2005, migrate in Florida, stay on 69th Street, Third Court, where I saw the struggle up and down the community and survived to become one of the small business successful person. And I want to give back to my community. I resignated to their story. And I believe the fact that I understand and stay in the community where I have the ability and possibility to move any other wealthy city, I decided to stay there. I am one of them and I connect with them. I will deliver for them. I will not earn a title. I will work to serve the community that I love so much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Juancito Francis. Thank you so much for your time, candidate. We pray you have a wonderful evening. Now, for our next candidate, we're going to turn over to Faraja, who is going to open up and do a little icebreaker so we can get to know her a little better, and then we'll dig into what she stands for in her campaign.
Well, Dr. Jeriel, if you are a North Miami resident, you are no stranger to this person that Farajai is going to tell us all about.
Absolutely.
It is Dina Iskelma. She is a business owner, a lifelong Miami resident, a former Title I public school teacher. She sits on the Democratic State Committee. She serves as the vice president of the Miami-Dade Democratic Haitian Caucus, and she is the chairwoman of the Florida Rising Miami-Dade. Do we have Dina? Oh, she's not here yet. Okay, so we're going to wait a little bit. So then I guess I'll get a little personal with you ladies here on the stage. So Dr. Jeriel, what made you want to get more active in our community?
Thank you so much for asking that question. I am a longtime resident of South Florida. My parents have a ministry here in Little Haiti, Pentecostal Church of Miami. We've been serving the community for over 3 decades. I'm also a strategist. I'm an educator. I love the babies, K through 8. Those are my babies. And I'm also a music educator by vocation. And so I have had that one-on-one real life experience with what it is that our community is experiencing. The members of my church are individuals who are readily affected by what's taking place in our current climate right now. And so I took it upon myself to say, if I have a voice, if I have a platform, why not use it to amplify the voices of those who are unable to be heard? And one of the ways that my goal is to do this and to encourage them to ensure to know that they do have power in
Yeah.
their vote. They may not be able to say it vocally, but they can say it at the booth.
Absolutely. I think that's extremely important. And that's something that we need to instill. Coming from a country like Haiti, where we don't often have the privilege of elections. For the last
Exactly.
couple of years, we haven't had that. So to be in a place where we are able to vote and we are able to exercise that right and have that power and really be able to shape what our government looks like, I think it's really important that we take advantage of that.
Absolutely. And we would love to hear from you as well, Candace. What is it about this climate or what has led you to serve in this way as well?
I always say that I think I am my best self when I am of service to others. If I know something, then I have to share it with others, whether that be economics, whether that be politics. Sometimes they don't want to hear my politics, but you'll hear it anyway. And I think that that's something that's really important because whether it be our culture, whether it be our education, oftentimes generation to generation, we're sort of losing little pieces of ourselves. And that's something that made me want to be more implicated in my community, in the Haitian community, so that I can preserve that culture within my family, with my children. And that was something that was really important to me. When I came to the States from Haiti, I didn't have a home. And when I was able to find the Haitian community here, I immediately felt like, oh, wow, okay, I'm not alone. I found that there were so many other people that were like me that just wanted to help.
Yes. Et moi, je prendre ça parce que moi, je fais transition ça as far as culture and finding yourself because you found your community. Et je prendre ça pour aider moun k'ap suivre nous qui plus parler créole, pour yo ka connaître que nous-mêmes tout nous décider pour nous bailler une voix, pour nous bailler une plateforme, pour nous éduquer famille nous yo. Qui importance qui gagne dans éducation et compréhension ça qui passe dans politique yo, pour yo ka connait qui gens li important pour yo voter et pour yo pas peur voter. En pile fois peuple nous yo peur pour yo aller dans polio pour yo décider qui est-ce qui pral camper dans opposition.
Au compte ça qui vient arriver, c'est que en pile là, nous pas même compte qui pouvoir que nous gagnons. Nous pas réaliser que nous avons pouvoir économique, nous avons pouvoir communautaire, nous avons vrai pouvoir et là nous unis. Peuple haïtien son bagage qui est extraordinaire. On toujours dit ça. Là nous décider unifier. On prend exemple et Coupe du monde là. Est-ce que ouais quantité haïtien qui sorti, est-ce que ouais quantité et tout côté nous passer, tout le monde c'est ça yo dit waouh, garon peuple parce que nous unifier. Et c'est ça dans moment ça oui bagay yo difficile certes, mais ça pas veut dire que nous pas gon pouvoir. Ça pas veut dire que nous arrêter et puis y a fait nous disparaître. Il pas faut faire nous disparaître.
Non, du tout pas.
Donc nous gon pouvoir, nous gon devoir tout pour nous exercer pouvoir nous pour ça que pas capable.
C'est ça? C'est ça? Ça passe dans ça Faraja?
M'attendez nous là avec tellement un pile d'attention, avec un pile et focus et puis nous fait m'a réfléchir tout. Et moi j'ai un pile bagage en commun avec nous parce que moi impliqué dans la communauté et dans l'éducation, dans la musique, même j'avais docteur Gériel, parce que moi c'est directrice en chorale dans l'église moi et même j'avais.
Yes.
T'as le bal faire chanter.
Oui, problème. Problème. Non, nous pas performer non pour ça non, c'est le candidat ça m'a quitté. Si candidat a chanté, pas de problème.
Ou bien dit.
Mais et pour appuyer tout ça que nous tous les deux nous t'a dit, peuple haïtien pour comprendre force que li gagne, le mettre tête ensemble. Là nous tous nous collaborer, là nous mettre de côté toute haine, toute raïsable qui ka gagne dans cœur nous ou bien toute et ambition qui fait nous seulement focus sur tête pas nous, là nous mettons tout ça de côté et nous ramasser tout le monde avec nous et puis nous monter tout le monde avec nous, c'est là que force nous y est. Et c'est ça qui fait que l'autre monde dans l'autre pays peur nous parce que connaît qui j'en nous fort le nous ensemble. C'est pour ça ti phrase ça qui dans mi-temps drapeau nous it represents us. That's
L'union
us.
fait la force.
L'union fait la force, c'est nous-mêmes. Donc, à chaque fois que nous avons un problème, même gens que vous parlez de Coupe du Monde, à chaque fois que nous avons un problème, ou bien le monde montre nous en tant qu'un pays qui tellement pas bon, ou bien toujours un paquet de bagages qui négatif, au lieu que nous focus sur ça, on essaie de faire, mettre tête nous ensemble pour nous collaborer, pour nous montrer how strong we are, how beautiful we are. We are beautiful people.
Absolutely.
Notre culture, nous, côté nous sorti, nous pas sorti pour nous seulement en tant que individuel ou même seulement. Ou porter une famille avec eux. Et là, moi dis famille, moi pas dit seulement moun qui même sans avec eux. M'a parlé de moun qui habitait sous quartier. Parce que je me levais, grand-mère t'es toujours à faire manger pour tout quartier.
Oui.
Nous pas jamais connaît qui est-ce qui vini là là non, mais depuis qu'il y a moun qui vini pas jamais gen manger manqué.
Oh.
Donc c'est ça
Absolutely.
que n'a essayé kembe, c'est ça que n'a essayé préserver, OK, pour nous qu'à continuer belle, pour nous qu'à continuer as strong as we need to be.
Absolutely. Je remets qu'on dit ça et ça vient inspirer pour me chercher une statistique que je regardé l'autre jour. Il dit que annuellement, Haïtiens ont contribué presque, que les plus. Mais d'après information ça, Human Rights Watch, il dit que ils ont contribué presque 2,6 billions de dollars dans
Entendez?
l'économie États-Unis.
M'a corrige, ça c'est en Floride seulement.
En Floride.
À travers toute nation, c'est presque 10 billions.
Bon,
Wow.
est-ce que ouais? Donc, ouais, yon peuple tant que nous-mêmes, notre diaspora, qui contribuait, yon montant comme ça pour nous penser que nous pas gain pouvoir, pour nous penser que nous pas gain voix, pour nous penser que nous pas gain assez d'influence pour nous faire des changements. Force nous, c'est notre éducation, nous. Force nous, c'est notre connaître qui gens pour nous mettre tête nous ensemble, même je nous t'ai dit tout à l'heure. Hein. Et puis pour nous faire évasion dans tout domaine. Font évasion dans l'éducation, font évasion dans le gouvernement, excusez, font évasion dans in the health arena. You understand? Et puis fait tout ça qui est nécessaire nous-mêmes comme jeunes. I'm a millennial. I urge all my millennial brothers and sisters, Haitian-Americans who are here listening to me tonight. And I urge you to share this broadcast as well because we have so much power. I remember back in, I believe it was 2000, when was the elections for Barack Obama? Was it 20? That was the first time that I got to go to the booth to vote. And I felt so proud to be able to do so. Vous croyez pas 2008? Et puis moi t'ai senti tellement fière avec toute famille, nous lever grand bonheur, moi-même papa, l'homme tout ça papa mettait gros musique dans la puis n'a danser n'a baigner n'a habillé pour nous aller voter en famille. C'est un bagage extraordinaire que lié, même gens tout. Lundi, si Dieu veut, early voting, primaire yo a passé. Dégagez Koumet Jean-Jacques. Al chercher moun qui ka aider ou enregistrer pour capable voter. Sou pas gen chance enregistrer pour voter pour lundi cap vini an, dégagez pour gen temps fait tout ça nécessaire pour qu'al voter 18 août cap vini an là parce que li nécessaire pour nous faire ça. Tout ça ouais cap fait dans climat politique là kounya là, nous gen assez de pouvoir pour nous changer climat. Lundi si Dieu veut ou bien le 18 août si Dieu veut. Okay? So I think that this is a very important topic and I'm so glad that you opened up this conversation, Candice, because en pile fois nous pas gain chance vraiment pour nous créer une plateforme comme ça, pour nous exprimer l'importance qui gagne dans éduquer tête nous selon ça n'a dit là, juge,
Oui.
représentants État, state representatives, Sénat, what their roles are in serving us, li nécessaire pour nous faire ça.
Absolutely. I think that sometimes we get intimidated and we assume that we don't know much about it.
Correct.
But the thing is, this day and age, everything is available online. You can
Yes.
research all of the candidates. You can find out what their voting records
Absolutely.
are. All of that stuff is open and public. And these are the people that you are putting in power to speak for you, to represent you. They work for you. Make no mistake. You are not working for them. All of these people that you are about to vote for, they work for you. Your tax dollars pay for them. So you got to make sure that you exercise that right and you take an active role on it. Because if you are not active, you are getting passed by.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's it.
Absolutely. And you not only will you get passed by, but you will be victim to however the climate or whichever direction this political climate goes. Listen, we are just like you. On this panel right now, the moderators, we are educators, we are women, we are mothers, we are contributors, we're taxpayers. We are working just as hard as you are on the other side of this screen. So, with that being said, thank you for joining us, and we're going to go on a short break.
Oliver Gilbert, c'est une nan oui. En pile haïtien relève Olivier Gilbert tellement connecté avec nous. Premier madame ni c'est haïtien oui. Ça veut dire petit li Olivier Gilbert 4 c'est haïtien tout. Chef cabinet Oliver Gilbert c'est Hakim Brutus, petit maître Philippe Brutus et assistant c'est Sandra Pierre-Paul. Qui plus belle senior conseiller exécutif Oliver Gilbert c'est Teresa Terilus, c'est une nan nous. C'est Oliver Gilbert oui qui encourageait et supportait Linda Julien pour le venir premier haïtien qui élu dans Miami Garden. Tout l'autre jour là, il était poto militant derrière élection député Wallace Aristide. À la yo bon partenaire communauté a gagné. Les autres a dit Miami Garden c'est celle boutique porno avec machin tap qui là. Oliver Gilbert transformé en plus gros centre attraction dans style Floride là. Football Miami Dolphins, Miami Hurricane, Miami Open dans tennis, Formula 1 dans course machine, concert jazz in the garden. Comme commissionnaire avec chairman Ted County, Oliver Gilbert balancé budget dans 2 ans. Li aidé commissionnaire Marlène Bastien débloquer 5 millions de dollars chaque année pour sierrer notre Miami. Li encourager FIFA porter mondial là dans quelle communauté a. Choix clair, communauté a besoin d'un monde qui compte bataille pour représenter dans Washington. Nous pas choisir monde ni pour bel pantalon ni pour belle parole. N'a choisi Olivier Gilbert parce que nous connaissons Olivier a délivré. Votez piqué punché numéro 31 pour Oliver Gilbert, député district 24. American Made Comité Action Politique approuvé et payé pour message ça. Oliver Gilbert, c'est une nan oui. En pile haïtien relève Olivier Gilbert tellement connecté avec nous. Premier madame ni c'est haïtien oui. Ça veut dire petit li Olivier Gilbert 4 c'est haïtien tout. Chef cabinet Oliver Gilbert c'est Hakim Brutus, petit maître Philippe Brutus et assistant c'est Sandra Pierre-Paul. Qui plus belle senior conseiller exécutif Oliver Gilbert c'est Teresa Terilus, c'est une nan nous. C'est Oliver Gilbert oui qui encourageait et supportait Linda Julien pour le venir premier haïtien qui élu dans Miami Garden. Tout l'autre jour là, il était poto militant derrière élection député Wallace Aristide. À la yo bon partenaire communauté a gagné. Les autres a dit Miami Garden c'est celle boutique porno avec machin tap qui là. Oliver Gilbert transformé en plus gros centre attraction dans style Floride là. Football Miami Dolphins, Miami Hurricane, Miami Open dans tennis, Formula 1 dans course machine, concert jazz in the garden. Comme commissionnaire avec chairman Ted County, Oliver Gilbert balancé budget dans 2 ans. Li aidé commissionnaire Marlène Bastien débloquer 5 millions de dollars chaque année pour sierrer notre Miami. Li encourager FIFA porter mondial là dans quelle communauté a. Choix clair, communauté a besoin d'un monde qui compte bataille pour représenter dans Washington. Nous pas choisir monde ni pour bel pantalon ni pour belle parole. N'a choisi Olivier Gilbert parce que nous connaissons Olivier a délivré. Votez piqué punché numéro 31 pour Oliver Gilbert, député district 24. American Made Comité Action Politique approuvé et payé pour message ça.
Lead stronger and pursue our goals with greater confidence.
Our hope is that you leave today with more than notes.
Progress has always been driven by courageous people willing to stand together.
We are not a footnote in someone else's story. You are the headline.
In 2021, I didn't realize that my own city did not have a commission for women. And so I made sure that I sponsored an ordinance and with the the support of my colleagues, in 2021, I think it was 97 years of North Miami existing, we finally had a women commission. And so I'm very...
And if you do it knowing that there is another side to the story, you have to be willing to listen to. So your voice matters, but so does someone else's.
We know that women have always led. Sometimes they've led from behind. They say behind every powerful man, there's a powerful woman, right? That's an expression we've all heard. Well, you know what, ladies? We don't have to hide anymore.
We educate, we pour into one another, we encourage, we empower one another, we support one another.
And if you learn how to show up for yourself,
Amen.
confident, resolute, and positioned to get it done, that will literally set the stage for every other woman, boy, child, man that you will come in contact with that would need you to fight for them. Start with yourself first.
You know, you decide how you want to show up. And I mean, you show up that same way, with that same intensity, that same intentionality every day. You have to decide how you're going to show up each and every day. Be your best self, your best authentic self, each and every day.
I feel a lot of love in this room. Love of expression, love of reaffirmation of who we are as individuals and as collective impact instigators.
Everything we can dream, we can become, as long as we work hard and persevere and ask for God's help.
But I would tell her, you know, it works out. Keep the course, keep working hard. The money's gonna come, the roles are gonna come, the positions are gonna come, the acknowledgments are gonna come.
Because when women are empowered, communities thrive, families flourish, businesses grow.
Some of the most beautiful initiatives I have been fortunate to be a part of were not built on grand budgets or even grand resources. They were built by women sitting around a table, talking about problems, sharing stories, figuring out their resources, opening doors for one another, and asking one simple question: how can we help? Dr. Jeria, let's go.
And we're live. Welcome back, everyone. We are here, and we're so glad that you're here. Listen, I hope you all took notes of the commercials that just passed, all these incredible events and opportunities for you to be involved in your community. And so now we're going to get ready to go with our next candidate. We have candidate District 108. We're going to go into, continue with our state representatives. We have Dina Escarmont. Our next candidate is a lifelong Miami resident, former Title I public school teacher, small business owner, and Democratic State Committee woman. She serves as a vice president of the Miami-Dade Democratic Haitian Caucus and chairwoman of Florida Rising Miami-Dade. Are you with us, Dina?
Sorry.
Dina.
Hello. Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we need to tell us who it is that you are outside of your candidacy. What is your personal life journey?
I can say that I was born into public service. So besides being a candidate, this is being a public servant is essentially who I am and my whole being. But I am a daughter. I am a mother, I'm a partner, I am someone who loves to swim. I love the water, I love the beach. I love spending time with my family. I am a teacher, as you guys mentioned, a former public school teacher. I am someone who is invested in the well-being of others and my community. I am someone who loves to travel. Every chance I get, I like to, because I work so hard throughout the year, I love the opportunity to be able to go and just see new places that God has created. I am a Christian woman. I was born and raised in the church, in the Seventh-day Adventist church. So that's something that's dear to me, being able to, have that time with God in the morning and in the evenings and throughout the day, and just know that He's walking with me during this journey that I'm embarking on right now in my life. It makes all the difference for me, and it keeps me grounded. So I'm someone who I'm a lot of people say, oh, Haitien, mais pas manger bien. I'm vegan. Fun fact, I'm vegan. I do not eat meat. I haven't eaten meat since I was in high school. And that's part of kind of who I am. I'm very disciplined. If I say I want to do something, I am going to stick to it. It could be everyone around me doing it. I'm not a follower. I am a leader. And I've been that way in my family, with my friends. I'm a problem solver. I'm someone who sees a problem and finds a solution to it. I don't like to just talk about the problem. I like to tackle it head on. So that kind of in a nutshell is the type of person that I am and who I am in my personal life journey. I just enjoy people, and I just enjoy community, and I just enjoy my family and all the things that make Dinah who she is today.
Thank you so much. We're so glad to have gotten the chance to get a snapshot of who is Dinah Escarmont. And so you've talked about being able to prepare your campaign as far as affordability, mobility, etc. So our first question for you, as we have asked all of your opponents, is South Florida homeowners have felt real relief this year in certain areas. They haven't had the chance to be able to experience what it means to be able to face these increased payments. South Florida continues to face significant economic pressures, including rising housing costs, insurance premiums, inflations, barriers to home ownership. Within the authority of the Florida legislator, what specific legislative actions would you pursue to improve the economic mobility for working families? And how would you measure whether those actions are producing meaningful results?
So, specific policy, affordable housing is the number one thing on my agenda as priorities in regards to legislation in Tallahassee, and bringing that back home to my community to bring about an impactful solution to the community. So one of the policies that I would support is the Florida Workforce and Home Ownership Act. With that act in place, so it's supporting that legislation and being able to push that, it allows for developers to not be able to come in and purchase so many properties in a bookload, and then our community doesn't have access, then it limits the amount of housing on the market, which in turn cause housing to cost way more money. It also allows for first-time home buyers to have some type of assistance when purchasing their first home. So the median age for someone to own a home in the state of Florida and country is 42 years old. So that's a long time to graduate from college around 23 to 25 years old, the latest, and wanting to start a family 10 years later at 25. So when you're 40, basically you'll still be living with your parents, and that's the reality, and that's the actual situation right now in the state of Florida. So things like that have systems in place where you can actually become a homeowner, and also where there's some legislation so that rent is not overly inflated when you're going to rent out a property. That's very important. And through that legislation, it'll build more affordable housing within the community, workforce housing, because as a former public school teacher, I know how your salary cannot cover to live in Miami, and that's where you work, that's where you serve. Police officers, firefighters, all these service workers aren't able to afford to live where they serve, and that's a huge problem. So just having those systems in place and making sure that we tackle two things as well within that. And in that Florida Workforce Housing and Home Ownership Act, there's also senior relief for property taxes. So some people can have their houses completely paid off. And when your house is completely paid off, some people think that there's no way that your house can be taken from you. Wrong. In the state of Florida, with the increase in inflation, with the property insurance and also property tax increases, a lot of our senior citizens are losing their home. They're losing their home, they're going into foreclosure, or they're selling it because they can't afford on a fixed income with their social security income to be able to pay the property taxes and insurance associated with that property. So being able to go into Tallahassee and pass legislation where we're able to, like I always say, bring competitiveness into the market, have some mitigation grants so that homeowners are able to have certain things repaired on their property, like a new roof. We know that if you're on a fixed income and you have all these bills, when your roof gets to a certain age, we know that you really don't have the money to allocate towards that. We know that if you need hurricane impact windows, we know that you don't have that money. In order to decrease insurance fraud in Tallahassee, which caused a lot of insurance companies to leave, those are some of the things that I would implement.
Dina, thank you so much for that colorful response. And I wanted to piggyback off of your mention, because we know that you are a former educator. And so we know that this next question is going to sit perfectly with you, which is educators often tell us that they're being asked to solve challenges that begin long before a child even enters the classroom. So what responsibility should state government assume in addressing these interconnected issues? And how would you ensure that schools are supported without expecting educators to solve every social challenge alone?
I think that's correct. A teacher is required to do so much. When you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're a mother, you're everything. You're the end all be all in the public schools. And I think it's because there's not as much resources allocated to that in the public schools. So I think that we should make sure that each student from even a young age, not just when you think that there's a problem, but I believe in prevention. I think that we should have social workers on hand, on deck with every student, seeing the students regularly throughout the school year, even from a young age. And I think that teachers should have an assistant in the classroom. I think every classroom, especially depending on the classroom size, we've seen an increase in classroom sizes. I think you should have an assistant in that classroom. A lot of teachers are able to function much better when they have a helping hand to help them with those students in the classroom. And a lot of things, they start at home. It starts at home. So when you have a child come into the classroom, it's not their first experience with learning. They should have already a foundation from home. And I think that we need to have resources available to the parents at home, or have people do stops and checks at that home so that the students are a little better prepared when they come into the classroom, and it'll alleviate a lot of the burden off of the teachers in the classroom for sure. So just having those extra resources, those extra help, and giving the parents some of the tools and resources that they need from at home will make a huge difference.
Thank you for that intervention, Dina. And in closing, would you give us your 1 minute closing, and so that we can know how and why it is that we should vote for you? And please don't forget to let us know what your ballot number is.
So the reason why everyone should vote for me is because I actually believe in the government working for the people. Like I always say, when there's a problem, I find a solution. In regards to affordable housing, without even being in the seat, through my organization, Florida Rising, where I'm the chairwoman of the largest political organization within the state of Florida, I have been able to go on the board with the Landlords Registry campaign to fight and advocate for affordable housing for our renters. So that's things that are already in the doing without even being elected. When they talked about clean air, we just had a win. We have a celebration coming up in 2 weeks, going to Tallahassee, talking about our clean air, and the incinerator in Doral, going to the commission meetings every Tuesday, being the spokesperson for that organization up in Tallahassee, getting the support from our senators. We saw a problem and we diligently spoke out about it, and now we won and we have a solution. When there's a disparities in the classroom as a public school teacher, when I saw the needs in our students and them not being able to have the resources that they need, going into my own pocket and filling in that gap is what I do. Then coming into the community, having backpack drives, I see a problem, I solve a problem. You don't have food at home, we do food drives. You need free immigration help, you aren't able to afford it, we do citizenship drives. So every problem that I see, I don't just talk about it and complain about it, I solve it. So if you want someone that makes government work for the people, punch 103 for Dinah Scarment, to end political corruption and to have change and put people over politics.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That is Dina Escarmont running for your state representative. And now at this moment, we're going to go into our next commercial break before we close out with our final segment.
My name is Christine Sanin Jules. I was born and raised right here in Dade County. See, I didn't come to this community, I came from it. 6 years ago, I said that this district deserved better, and I still believe that. I actually believe that now more than ever before. Because gas didn't get cheaper, jobs didn't get easier, rent didn't stop rising. They told us to be patient, we were patient, and still our families are being priced out of the homes we built. I'm not a newcomer to the struggle. I was raised in it, I was shaped by it. So when I say I've been on the ground with the people, I'm not talking about campaign stops. I'm talking about my neighbors, my family, myself. These are unprecedented times. That means the old playbook is done. The safe choices are done. The wait your turn politics, done. I'm not running for this district. I am this district. And I'm asking you to stand with me because change doesn't just start in Washington, D.C. It starts with us. It starts right here. Change starts now. Paid and approved.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Tout auditeur nou yo, nou welcome encore davantage nan denye séance que nous pral fè kounya la, kote que nous pral introduit à ou même candidat pour Florida State Senate, district numéro 34. Nous gagnons ensemble avec nous Christine Sanin Jules Olivo. We have with us tonight our Florida State Senate candidate representing District 34, Christine Sanin Jules Olivo. Forgive me. Our next candidate is a Miami-Dade native, entrepreneur, and educator. She made history in 2022. As the first Haitian-American woman to secure a major party congressional nomination in Miami-Dade County. And she has built her Senate campaign around what she calls an economic dignity agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, Christine Sanin Jules Olivo. Are you with us? Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. So before we get into the big questions, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your journey and tell us who you are and what brought you to this.
Catholic school, I'm a hornet. I will say that my service, my journey into service actually started at Holy Family. I was in 5th grade. I had a crush on a boy, and every time I would look at him, he would have a bruise on his body. And I went to my DARE officer, and I said, I think he's being abused. And my DARE officer said, are you sure? I said, I know. That day, they held the family back, him and his sister, and to find out that their stepfather was abusing them. And that at that moment, I knew that I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. I went on to defend family and friends for various reasons. In my 20s, I lived in LA, pursuing acting, singing, dancing, and my roommate ended up being a 60-year-old Mexican woman, amazing woman, Belen. I love Belen. Belen was always getting written up and always getting mistreated. She was a migrant. She did not have her papers, and they mistreated her. So I would walk into HR, and I would say, why did Belen get written up? And they said, oh, goodness, here comes the lawyer. Because I just believe in fairness, and I believe that everyone deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. I have carried that on into my years of service now, just showing up for the people. I've never needed permission to show up. I just answered the call in my life. hold on. I
Sorry about that. So I was just saying thank you so much for talking about that and talking about your journey. And I'm glad that you brought that up because that is something that has been top of mind for our community lately. It's immigration. The last couple of weeks, we've sort of been in a lot of turmoil specifically for the Haitian community, but really over the course of the year, there's been a lot of discourse around that. How do you believe that Florida should respond to the needs of immigrant communities, including Haitian-American families, while remaining within constitutional authority of the state government?
However, until we can win that fight, we've got to provide resources for our migrants that are confused, that don't know what to do. Last summer, when the Trump administration originally discontinued TPS or canceled TPS, a few of us, myself included, Naomi Blamire, Sandra Cher-Frere, we organized to get resources to the migrants. We organized to make sure that they had attorneys, that they knew what to do with their children, how to handle if they are picked up by ICE, and what to do with their house and their business. These are questions that a lot of migrants have, and they don't have the answers to. So we did 14 town halls from North Miami all the way to Belgrade to help our migrants and to help them get the resources that they desperately need. Now, we still can call our senators. We can still call our members of Congress. We can still keep fighting, but we cannot stand still and wait. We've got to take action, and so we've got to get that information out.
Hearing about the work that you've done, because the next question is going to be about community-based organizations. If elected, what formal structures would you establish to ensure that community-based organizations, entrepreneurs, local governments have a consistent voice in shaping policy through your term?
Excellent. Thank you so much for that question. So one of the ways that I want to make sure that we are taking care of our community-based organizations is by providing regular workshops and showing them, number one, how to apply for appropriations, how to fill out the form, how to work with other legislators to get appropriations for their projects. A lot of our community-based organizations don't even know where to start. And I want to make sure that we give them the groundwork that they need so that they can have a better chance at getting funding for their programs. Aside from that, I would love to just have an open door. Let me hear about the issues that matter most to you and how can we fit that into legislation so that it's not just waiting for appropriations. We can also put some policy forth to help our families right here on the ground.
You. And I know that this is something that we talked about and we touched with the other candidates, and it's the question of affordability. How do you feel that you're going to be able to, as a state senator, what comprehensive legislative strategy would you pursue to address these economic issues, and how would you balance immediate relief with long-term fiscal responsibility?
So one of my very first pieces of legislation that I want to pass is the Florida Stability Act. Right now, we have a funding, a fund pool, I guess you can say, for it's called Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. And that fund has millions of dollars that do not go to needy families. So I want to make sure that we can set up a 3-month emergency stability account so that every family, every individual can have access to 3 months worth of emergency savings so that you never miss a bill again. That is number one. And we would launch that in District 34 as a pilot, right? And see how it works and see how we can pay back into the program and expand it so that we can cover the entire state of Florida. So many people take out payday loans and cash advances just to pay their bills, right? So that a $400 bill doesn't turn into a $4,000 fee. So we would love to create I guess just some sort of apparatus for our families to be able to tap into and use when they need it. That is number one, tackling the affordability crisis. Number two, we need better paying jobs. We need high paying jobs. And so I am going to champion to bring back the film and television entertainment tax credit so that we can bring the 150,000 jobs that went to Georgia and Jersey and LA, bring them back here so that our families can make more money and then afford to live here.
Insightful, and I'm so happy that we got a chance to speak with you and hear a little bit more about you. If you could give us your closing statement and tell us why we should vote for you.
Well, I am District 34. When we look at a mom fighting to keep a roof over the heads of her children and her family, I am District 34. When we look at someone taking care of their elderly relatives that don't have the best health care and don't have enough in their Social Security to pay for their rent, I am District 34. When we talk about the small business owner who is searching for funds and can't find them, I am District 34. I'm asking you to elect me because I've been where you've been. I'm probably in that position more than you think. And so when I go to Tallahassee, I'm not just fighting for you, I'm fighting for all of us. I'm asking you to vote for Christine San and Jules Olivo on August 18th, or actually right now, because a lot of you have your ballots at home. I am number 98 on your ballot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That concludes our questions for this evening. Nous conclut question nou yo pour soirée. Thank you to every candidate who joined us tonight and answered directly on the record. That deserves respect regardless of who earns your vote. Thank you to BL Consulting for hosting, to my fellow moderators, Candice Modésir, Faradja La Fortune Muller. And we want to say a special thanks to Telepam TV crew, and thank you to everyone watching, whether it is on Facebook Live or on Roku. Tonight wasn't just about tomorrow, it was about the next 10 years. Ça nous discuter à soir, c'est pas simplement pour demain si Dieu veut. C'est pas simplement pour ni lundi ni 18 août côté que nous pral voter. But son décision pour 10 ans à l'avenir. Qui ça ou même ou décider faire dans jours qui venir. Merci en pile, Faradja.
Mes amis, est-ce que nous entendez? Docteur Gériel pose une grosse question à soi, oui? En tout cas, moi souhaite que nous prenions note. Moi souhaite que nous te contents de plus de tout candidat yo. Et moi souhaite que nous non position qu'on est en côté que nous ka prendre décision définitive. Parce que nous ouais qui tout candidat yo dévoué, yo passionné. Donc prends ça, réfléchis, connais qui ça cap bon pour vous. Parce que Télépam pas quitter nous à terre. Je connais dit pour nous monter sur internet à Google, mais Télépam pote bagay la pour nous en direct, you know, raw. Donc encore une fois, merci en pile de ce que nous quitter Télépam entrer la caille nous à soya. Nous accepter que nous entrer la caille à soya pour faire gros travail ça, pour porter toute information ça pour nous. Route la bout pour nous à soya, mais travail là pas fini. N'a pas nous rendez-vous encore demain, cap jeudi 30 juillet, à même l'heure, à 6h30, avec l'autre candidat toujours, même côté à, sous Télépam. Merci en pile, passez une bonne nuit. Encore une fois, nom c'est Faradja La Fortune Muller. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bon leader pas dans parlant pile. Christine Sanon Jules délivré sans blablabla. Christine comprend que communauté a besoin de travail. Qu'on s'allie mettait ensemble avec papa Thomas Sanon Jules pour créer des centaines de travail poussés à frère nous à travers d'éco-sécurité. Ça son bon bagay. Dans position Christine Deguin comme professeur sciences mathématiques avec l'idée de la jeunesse, Christine te servi comme rôle modèle et elle te baille tout ça yo te besoin pour avoir succès dans la vie. Chapeau bas Christine. Christine va jamais machin de service pour la représenter communauté dans l'élection. C'est comme ça, il te fait l'histoire comme première femme haïtienne-américaine dans côté d'aide qui te recevoir plus que 58 000 votes pour la représenter communauté dans le Congrès des États-Unis. Bravo Christine. À la belle après la belle, la Christine campé dans chambre Sénat même Jean avec Suzanne Sanit Belair pour la défendre communauté. Qui ça on dit sous ça Christine?
Moi c'est Christine Sanon Jules. Moi pas mettre toute force moi de pour me défendre citoyen district 34. Ensemble, n'a pas famille j'arrête pour yo vin pijam. Bâtir une communauté à plus sécurité et assurer tout le monde joindre opportunité.
Mais l'idée communauté a cherché à commencer soit senti ballot voter bonnet à jouer élection, n'a voté, n'a piqué, n'a punché numéro 98 pour mettre Christine Sanon Jules sénateur.
I was paid and approved by Christine for state senator.
Oliver Gilbert, c'est une nanoui. En pile haïtien relève Olivier Gilbert tellement connecté avec nous. Premier madame, c'est haïtien, oui. Ça veut dire, petit li Olivier Gilbert 4, c'est haïtien tout. Chef cabinet Oliver Gilbert, c'est Hakim Brutus, petit maître Philippe Brutus. Et assistant, c'est Sandra Pierre-Paul. Qui plus belle, senior conseiller exécutif Oliver Gilbert, c'est Teresa Terilus, c'est une nanou. C'est Oliver Gilbert, oui, qui encourageait et supportait Linda Julien pour le premier haïtien qui élu dans Miami Garden. Tout l'autre jour là, il était pas derrière élection député Wallace Aristide. À la yo, bon partenaire communauté a gagné. Les autres a dit Miami Garden, c'est celle boutique porno avec machin tap qui là. Oliver Gilbert transformé en plus gros centre attraction dans le Floride là. Football Miami Dolphins, Miami Hurricane, Miami Open dans tennis, Formula 1 dans course machine, concert jazz in the garden. Comme commissionnaire avec Sherman Dade County, Oliver Gilbert balance budget dans 2 temps. Li aide commissionnaire Marlène Bastien débloquer 5 millions de dollars chaque année pour sierrer notre Miami. Li encourager FIFA porter mondial là dans quelle communauté a. Choix clair, communauté a besoin d'un monde qui compte bataille pour représenter dans Washington. Nous pas choisir monde ni pour bel pantalon ni pour belle parole. Nous choisi Olivier Gilbert parce que nous connaissons Olivier a délivré. Votez piqué punche numéro 31 pour Oliver Gilbert, député district 24, American Made Comité Action Politique, approuvé et payé pour message ça.
Même à ton Moïse là. Pied bœuf pour pied bœuf. N'a pris le cas pratique. 18 da ou kap vin là dans district 24 là pour congrès. Ensemble, nous parlons Washington. Oui, c'est nous Haitiens-Américains à 4 de vote nous qui pral mettre moun pa nous botable là qui c'est docteur Rudolph Moïse. Yon nan nous Cabri Tomaso même pli maya que nous. Ou dit Moïse, c'est un leader civique sans pareil. Rivel nan Grand Caille, atterri Washington, problème immigration nous c'est yon nan priorité. Donc là, c'est un père de famille responsable, un médecin expérimenté qui diplômé dans business administration, un avocat colonel dans Air Force Reserve, puis faut activité clinique ou dit Moïse, c'est dans quelle communauté alliée oui, cap servi nous depuis plus passé 40 récoltes café. Dernière fois pour nous dégager chez ça, chaudière division te bouilli dans mi-temps nous. Fois ça, communauté a dit ça t'est passé dans veille là, pas passé dans enterrement. Jodia, c'est nous tout pour yon numéro 34 pour nous taguer docteur Moïse qui saute dans les entrailles nous. Et puis pour ta dire pour nous voter les autres, yo ta ri nous lever bâton, nous fendre la même division, tout vote convergé, depuis absenti ballot, voter bonnet et mardi 18 daoua, punche numéro 34. Ou dit Moïse, congressman district 24, tête droite pour Washington.
Non, c'est Rudy Moïse, candidat pour congrès, m'a prouvé message ça.
Today's conversations will challenge us to think bigger, lead stronger, and pursue our goals with greater confidence.
Our hope is that you leave today with more than notes.
Progress has always been driven by courageous people willing to stand together.
We are not a footnote in someone else's story. You are the headline.
In 2021, I didn't realize that my own city did not have a commission for women. And so I made sure that I sponsored an ordinance, and with the support of my colleagues, in 2021, I think it was 97 years of North Miami existence, we finally had a women commission. And so I'm very...
And if you do it knowing that there is another side to the story, you have to be willing to listen to. So your voice matters, but so does someone else's.
We know that women have always led. Sometimes they've led from behind. They say behind every powerful man, there's a powerful woman, right? That's an expression we've all heard. Well, you know what, ladies? We don't have to hide anymore.
We educate, we pour into one another, we encourage, we empower one another, we support one another.
And if you learn how to show up for yourself,
Amen.
confident, resolute, and positioned to get it done, that will literally set the stage for every other woman, boy, child, man that you will come in contact with that would need you to fight for them. Start with yourself first.
You know, you decide how you want to show up. And I mean, you show up that same way, with that same intensity, that same intentionality every day. You have to decide how you're going to show up each and every day. Be your best self, your best authentic self, each and every day.
I feel a lot of love in this room. Love of expression, love of reaffirmation of who we are as individuals and as collective impact instigators.
Everything we can dream, we can become, as long as we work hard and persevere and ask for God's help.
But I would tell her, you know, it works out. Keep the course, keep working hard. The money's gonna come, the roles are gonna come, the positions are gonna come, the acknowledgments are gonna come.
Because when women are empowered, communities thrive, families flourish, businesses grow.
Some of the most beautiful initiatives I have been fortunate to be a part of were not built on grand budgets or even grand resources. They were built by women sitting around a table, talking about problems, sharing stories, figuring out their resources, opening doors for one another, and asking one simple question: how can we help?
Today's conversations will challenge us to think bigger, lead stronger, and pursue our goals with greater confidence.
Our hope is that you leave today with more than notes.
Progress has always been driven by courageous people willing to stand together.
We are not a footnote in someone else's story. You are the headline.
In 2021, I didn't realize that my own city did not have a commission for women. And so I made sure that I sponsored an ordinance, and with the support of my colleagues, in 2021, I think it was 97 years of North Miami existence, we finally had a women commission. And so I'm very...
And if you do it knowing that there is another side to the story, you have to be willing to listen to. So your voice matters, but so does someone else's.
We know that women have always led. Sometimes they've led from behind. They say behind every powerful man, there's a powerful woman, right? That's an expression we've all heard. Well, you know what, ladies? We don't have to hide anymore.
We educate, we pour into one another, we encourage, we empower one another, we support one another.
And if you learn how to show up for yourself,
Amen.
confident, resolute, and positioned to get it done, that will literally set the stage for every other woman, boy, child, man that you will come in contact with that would need you to fight for them. Start with yourself first.
You know, you decide how you want to show up. And I mean, you show up that same way, with that same intensity, that same intentionality every day. You have to decide how you're going to show up each and every day. Be your best self, your best authentic self, each and every day.
I feel a lot of love in this room. Love of expression, love of reaffirmation of who we are as individuals and as collective impact instigators.
Everything we can dream, we can become as long as we work hard and persevere and ask for God's help.
But I would tell her, it works out. Keep the course, keep working hard. The money's gonna come, the roles are gonna come, the positions are gonna come, the acknowledgments are gonna come.
Because when women are empowered, communities thrive, families flourish, businesses grow.
Some of the most beautiful initiatives I have been fortunate to be a part of were not built on grand budgets or even grand resources. They were built by women sitting around a table, talking about problems, sharing stories, figuring out their resources, opening doors for one another, and asking one simple question: how can we